Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome dear learners. This is a video for the subject of education, for the course of Bachelor's in Education and for the paper of Conceptual Foundations of Education. Here we will be discussing the philosophical basis of education. In this lecture, we will be discussing the study of the School of Philosophy and its educational implications, and the School of Philosophy is pragmatism. This video has been recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Professor Nasreen Mujib from Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. This video has been created under the project DTH Swayam Prabha channels of MHRD, New Delhi. Hello dear students, I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at IASC, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we are going to have a discussion on philosophical basis of education. And in this lecture, there will be the study on the School of Philosophy, which is named as pragmatism. And we will be studying the School of Philosophy in terms of its educational implications also. So let us start the discussion. First of all, let us see the objectives. In today's session, the objectives of the lecture or the session will be to discuss the meaning of pragmatism, School of Philosophy. Then to explain the various aspects of pragmatism, School of Philosophy related to education, and to elaborate the significance of pragmatism with respect to education. So let us start our discussion on pragmatism, which is at times also denoted as experientialism. There is a notion in pragmatism that the universe is dynamic and evolving, and which is also considered as the becoming view of the world. There is no absolute and unchanging truth, but rather truth is what works. So pragmatism is derived from the teachings of Charles Sanders Peirce, who believed that thought must produce action rather than linger in the mind and lead to indecisiveness. John Dewey applied pragmatist philosophy in his progressive approaches. He believed that learners must adapt to each other and to their own environment. Schools should emphasize the subject matter of social experience. John Dewey has given a lot of emphasis on the inculcation of experiences. All learning is dependent on the context of place, time, and circumstance. Different cultural and ethnic groups learn to work cooperatively and contribute to a democratic society. The ultimate purpose is the creation of a new social order. So character development is based on making group decisions in light of consequences. So in the case of the pragmatists, teaching methods focus on hands-on problem solving, experimenting, and projects like this. The process of giving projects is very important in case of pragmatism. So we often having students working in groups in case of doing these projects. So curriculum should bring the disciplines together to focus on solving problems in an interdisciplinary way. So rather than passing down organized bodies of knowledge to new learners, what pragmatism believes that the learners should apply their knowledge to real life situations through experiential learning or experimental inquiry. This actually prepares the students for their future life, for becoming a good citizen, and even to solve their daily life problems which can arrive in their future. So this is the ethos of pragmatism, and we are going to discuss it in detail, each and every aspect of the pragmatism philosophy, which is also called as the experiential philosophy at times. So let us start with the meaning of pragmatism. So if we go ahead and see the etymological meaning of the word pragmatism, it is actually derived from a Greek word which is pragma, which means activity or the work which is being done. So some of the scholars think that the word pragmatism have been derived from the Greek word pragmatikos, which means practicability or utility. So there is a kind of like point of discussion between the usage of these two Greek words regarding the meaning of pragmatism. But you can see that both of the terms, the pragma or the pragmaticos, the meaning are almost similar. So we can say that this term has got its etymological origin from the Greek words. Then, according to this ideology, great importance is laid upon practicability and utility. So, the different people who believe in this philosophy of pragmatism, they firmly hold that first the activity or experiment is done, and then on the basis of the results, principles or ideas are derived. So we can say that pragmatism is also known as experimentalism or consequentialism. Consequentialism, why? Because it depends on consequences. So it is called experimentalism because pragmatists believe that basically experiments form the basis, or you can say the criteria for actually discovering any of the truths. So for them, truth, reality, goodness or badness, all are relative terms. These concepts are not predetermined and absolute. So they are proved by human beings' own experiences. So we can say that further the pragmatist school of philosophy believes that truth are mainly like they basically feel that truths are many in nature. They are all basically in making, and in making they mean that actually human beings go ahead and perform their activities and discover all the truths. So man basically researches these areas only by means of his or her own experiments and experiences. So pragmatists also hold that whatever was true yesterday or some other day, maybe it can be proven untrue some other day by doing a lot of experiences or experiments. You can find that whatever was true for you yesterday can be untrue or false for you some other day. So under these circumstances, no definite and determined principle of current use can stop the world from moving forward on the path of progress. So this disequilibrium actually takes us ahead, where we are in search of truth, and then we go ahead and see that what exactly was true for us yesterday and what exactly can be added and can become a truth for us some other day. So pragmatism is called consequentialism because any human activity is evaluated in terms of its consequences or results, the outcomes. So if the activity results in some utility, then it is true. Otherwise, we consider it as untrue. So it may be noted that the fundamental start of pragmatism is change. So in this particular sense, no truth is absolute and permanent. So it is always changing from one time to another. So maybe from one place to other place and from circumstances to circumstances. So we can say that those ideas and values which are useful in one set of circumstances or time or place need not prove to be the same in changing circumstances, places, or maybe the time. So we can say that pragmatists, unlike the idealists, do not believe in fixed, eternal, and absolute values of life to be followed in all the times or maybe the places and the circumstances. So they also do not uphold any predetermined philosophy of life because they believe in experiences. So that's why there is no any predetermined philosophy of life. It's changing every time. So for them, only those ideas and values are true which result in some utility to humankind in a certain set of circumstances, places, and times. So this the entire set of values basically give a kind of meaning to pragmatism. On the basis of all the discussions which we made, we can make a conclusion that pragmatism school of philosophy is very much connected with human life and human welfare. And this is the reason why at times we call it a humanistic philosophy of life. And if we try to make a comparison between other philosophies, naturalism is neurocentric, idealism is psychocentric, whereas pragmatism is anthropocentric, and according to which humans or human beings' own experiences are the centers of reality and truth. The chief propounders of pragmatism are C.B. Peirce, William James, Schiller, and John Dewey. William James has called pragmatism as a middle stage between idealism and naturalism. Idealism also emphasizes human development as pragmatism also does. So the only difference between the two is that while idealism emphasizes the pursuit of predetermined ideas or ideals and values, the human actually the basis of human growth, pragmatism stresses that ideals and values are not predetermined and absolute, but they are in the making through a process of change. So as such, each individual has to decide about his or her own ideals and values to pursue for his or her own development. So in this way, we can say that like the dynamic idealism, pragmatism basically lays emphasis upon man-made ideals and values, which are the results of some human activities and experiments. It may further be noted that there are points of similarity between pragmatism and naturalism. Both actually emphasize the constructive propensities in a child, and which are basically considered as the gifts of his or her inherent nature. So we can say that this similarity between the two, uh, but you can say that both are basically very much widely different also in few of the approaches to human growth and development. We actually make a kind of characteristic features of both the philosophies. So while naturalism tries to develop the individuality of a child in the company of nature, far away from all human society or all human influences, pragmatism emphasizes to develop the child in and through human society, in close vicinity of human influences. To conclude, basically, we can say regarding this meaning of pragmatism and its comparison with different philosophies, that pragmatism and dynamic idealism speak the same language about man-made ideals and values, whereas pragmatism and naturalism hold similar views about the study of a child and his or her inherent nature. The truth is that both pragmatism and idealism will come very close to each other if pragmatism becomes dynamic idealism. So the difference will be much less in this their approaches to life and the humanistic philosophy of life. So we can see that there are close relationships between these philosophies, but there are certain things which are very much different in these philosophies which actually make them different. So in this way we can make a kind of analytical overview of these three philosophies: the pragmatism, the naturalism, and the idealism. Now let us see few of the definitions which are given by different people, different scholars at different times, which are for pragmatism school of philosophy. James B. Pratt has actually defined pragmatism in these words. He says that pragmatism offers us a theory of meaning, a theory of truth, of knowledge, and a theory of reality. So these are the words of James B. Pratt. Then we have to see the words of J.S. Ross. He says that pragmatism is essentially a humanistic philosophy maintaining that man creates his own values in the course of activity, that reality is still in the making and awaits its part of completion from the future, that to an unascertainable extent our truth are man-made products. So these are the words of J.S. Ross. Then let us see what William James has said about pragmatism, because his words are very much precious. He actually is the person who is actually called the very important personality whenever we talk about pragmatism school of philosophy. William James says that pragmatism is a temper of mind, an attitude. It is also a theory of the nature of ideas and truth. And finally, it is a theory about reality. So you can see that how different are the views or the definitions given by different people in terms of the pragmatism school of philosophy. So these were few of the definitions. Now let us see the forms of pragmatism. Basically, when we talk about the forms of pragmatism, there are three different forms which are very much popular whenever we talk about the pragmatism school of philosophy. The first form is the humanistic pragmatism. According to this ideology, only those things or principles are true which satisfy the needs, the requirements, the aspirations and objectives of human beings and cater to the welfare of humankind. In other words, we can say that uh, whatever thing satisfies the human nature is only true and real. So this is something which is very much related to the human beings. So humanistic pragmatism believes that whatever fulfills my purpose, satisfies my desire, develops my life is true, which at times is actually true. Whatever is felt by us, which satisfies us or which makes difference in our life, we consider those things true. So this is the first form of pragmatism, which is humanistic pragmatism. Let us see the second form, which is experimental pragmatism. So according to this ideology, the experimental pragmatism ideology, uh, anything or principle is true which can be verified as true by experiment. So we can even see that it is very much similar to the scientific view or the scientific process of living. So we can see that according to this experimental pragmatism, or those who believe in experimental pragmatism, whatever can be experimentally verified is true, or what works is true. So whatever is going to work for a human being who believes in experimental pragmatism will be considered as true for him or her. Then let us see the third form of pragmatism, which is considered as biological pragmatism. According to this type of or this form of pragmatism, uh, this basically is depending on the power or capacity of human beings. It says, the biological pragmatism says that power or capacity of a human being is valuable and important, which enables him or her to adjust with the environment or which makes him able to change his or her environment according to his or her needs and requirements. The chief protagonist of this ideology is John Dewey. Basically, John Dewey proclaims that by this type of pragmatism, test is found in the function of thought, in adapting the human organism to its environment. So, with all these views, we can see that this basic thinking regards the thought as a means to solve any problematic situation, to achieve adjustment and harmony. So we can say that sometimes, um, if we consider pragmatism as instrumentalism, then also we will not be wrong. John Dewey propounded this theory while working at Chicago University, this theory of instrumentalism. So at times, this idea is also considered as the Chicago School of Thought because it was developed by John Dewey at Chicago University. Now let us talk about the principles of pragmatism. There are many principles which account for this school of philosophy or the pragmatism school of philosophy. Let us see all these principles one by one. So, the first principle which I would like to consider is that changing nature of truth. The principle of changing nature of truth. Pragmatists do not believe in predetermined truth. We have already discussed it many times. According to the pragmatists, uh, basically the truth always changes according to time, place, and situation. They also believe that a thing which is true to an individual at a specific time, place, and situation, there is a possibility that in other situation at maybe another time, this particular phenomenon or the thing may not be proven as truth for this individual or maybe for another individual. So we can say that certain things which were true to a person yesterday need not be true or same for this person today, or maybe in future if we go ahead and see the future, maybe they can't be considered as true for him uh, tomorrow. So in this way, we can say that changing nature of truth is the very important principle of pragmatism. The next principle is that truth is formed by its result. So what exactly this principle talks about? So according to pragmatism, uh, it is not a fixed and definite entity. Whatever is there is not a fixed and definite entity. According to pragmatism, basically, these people believe that for them, truth is a relative term which is which can be changed according to the stages of development and situation, which which basically confront a person in the process of growth and progress. So the chief reason of this is that change in situation throws up new problems to solve by new thoughts and new efforts. So in different situations, we solve our problems in different ways. So it is not like that there is one problem, so we will solve it every time in the same way. So there can be different solutions for or ways of solving it for different problems. So that's why this principle is considered as again an important principle, which is that truth is formed by its results. Then the next principle is saying that emphasis on social and democratic values. Pragmatism holds that man is a social being. Man is born in society, and all the development of this human being takes place in and through society. So in this way, pragmatists uphold social and democratic attitudes and values. The next principle is talking about emphasis on the principle of utility. What exactly this says? Pragmatism basically believes in utilitarian ideology, which holds that the reality of a principle lies in its utility. Any idea or thing which is useful to us is proper and right for us. So in case it is not of much use for us, it is considered at times improper, wrong, or untrue. So we can say that only those ideas and things are true which have a utility for humankind. So in other words, or maybe let's talk this regarding this principle in the words of William James, who says that it is true because it is useful. So this was the other principle. Now let us see the next principle, which says that problems as the motives of truth. So according to pragmatism, human life is like a laboratory wherein each individual undertakes various experiments to solve the problems which confront him or her in course of his or her growth and development. So the success of the experiment is a search of truth. So in this way, basically, all these forces, all these experiments become a motivating factor or a motivating force for the search of truth. Then the next principle says importance of manpower. Pragmatism attaches great importance to the power of man. So by virtue of this power, a human being can create an environment useful, beneficial, and conducive to his own development and welfare of society. So importance is given to manpower. The next principle says that importance of activity. It actually gives importance to activity. Pragmatism lays great emphasis on activity rather than on ideas. As we have seen in case of idealism, ideas were very important. But here in case of pragmatism, uh, activities have been given a lot of emphasis or importance. So pragmatists hold the view that ideas are born out of activities. Man is an active being. Human beings learn by their own activities which they always engage in, or actually once they lead their life, all these activities come into the path of their life. So in this way, the greatest contribution of pragmatism to education is basically this principle of learning by doing, where activity actually fits in very properly. So this was the next principle. The next, after this, the next principle is opposition to fixed ideas and values. We have already seen that pragmatism is not believing on fixed ideas and values. According to pragmatism, ideas and values of life are not predetermined and fixed. Pragmatism firmly hold that values and ideas of life are man-made and they change according to changes in circumstances, time and place. As such, human life is a laboratory wherein each individual indulges in ever new experiments and experiences according to his or her own mental capacity to explore, to investigate, and search out relevant ideas and values. So, except this mental capacity, there is no other force in the creation which reflects the divine power of Almighty. So this was the next principle. Then the next principle after this is pragmatism believes in basically it has faith in pluralism. So about the absolute supreme reality, there are three views and beliefs. The first one is monism, second is dualism, and the third is pluralism. We all are actually very much aware of this point that these three views are there. In this case, pragmatism upholds the third one, which is pluralism. So, according to it, experiences basically are the test of truth. Those ideals or values which are testified by experiences are true and real. So, as such, pragmatic truth are basically many because we have got all those experiences coming on our ways. So these truths are also many for us if we believe in pragmatic school of philosophy. So human being is basically depending on the experiences, which will provide the validity of an idea or thing to be real and true. According to a very renowned pragmatist, Rusk, he says that naturalism reduces everything to life, idealism to mind or spirit. Pragmatism sees no necessity for seeking one fundamental principle of explanation. It is quite content to admit several principles and accordingly pluralistic. So basically, Rusk is also endorsing this idea that pragmatism believes in pluralism. The next principle says that faith in present and future. Pragmatism has faith in present and future. So pragmatism does not stick to the past. According to this ideology, each individual has to solve the problems of his or her present and future life. So in this way, the present and the immediate future are given a lot of value, great value in the life of an individual. The past is considered as dead and gone. So, in this case, we can see that past is not considered important in case of pragmatism, but the present and the immediate future is considered very important. Now let us see the next principle, which is that opposition to social customs and traditions. So pragmatism is deadly against to old customs, traditions, restrictions, and taboos. Pragmatism believes in the realities of life. So in this way, we can say that it does not concern itself with things which confuse and often mislead human intelligence. It gives great importance to human intelligence and mental capacity, which brings about harmonious and a kind of very proper adjustment with environment, which results in human welfare and happiness. Then the next principle says that reality is still in the making. Pragmatism believes that reality is still in the making. So anything, everything is not permanent. It believes on this point. So reality is still in making. So for pragmatists, future is more helpful and bright in comparison with the present. So, to call the present world as fully made up, absolutely beautiful, and complete is actually considered to be wrong in this school of philosophy. The world is still in the process of formation and development. Man is to aid this process of formation to such an extent that all the needs and requirements of human beings are fully satisfied. So they basically believe in the dynamic nature of the development of the world. So in this way, pragmatic attitude is very much optimistic, progressive and developing. According to William James, for naturalism, reality is ready-made and complete from all exteriority. Basically, when he says this, he actually talks about the naturalism, which is very much keen towards the nature and closeness to the nature. He further he says that while for pragmatism it is still in the making and awaits its part of completion from the future. So he says here he explains that pragmatism is very much futuristic in nature. Then the last principle is actually exclaiming about faith in flexibility. So pragmatism firmly believes that nothing is fixed and final in this world. Everything grows, changes, and develops. In our world, basically things are changing. So the world is actually changing and everything is under a process of change. So human life is also changing. A human being encounters various problems in the life, uh, and they go ahead and find the solutions of these problems. So this human person, a human being, or this person actually employs all the mental faculties and learn from all his or her experiments and experiences, uses all the resources which are available to him, and all those ideas, all those new ideas which are the products of the experiences, to actually solve that problem and to go ahead and make progress in the life, and make the development. So these were the principles of pragmatism. Now we have to see that what exactly is the relationship between pragmatism and education, or what exactly are the outcomes which are taken from the philosophy of pragmatism in the education of children. So in order to produce creative, resourceful and adaptable children, we should have conditions in the school which are conducive to the creation of the qualities of mind. The children should not be asked to work according to predetermined goals. They should determine their goals according to their needs and interests, and in conformity with the demands of the activities uh, they have to undertake. So for them, the teaching learning process is a social process where the sharing of experiences between the teacher and the taught actually takes place. So we can say that here the ethos of pragmatism actually play a very important role. So pragmatism is closely related to the modern education. The slogan of pragmatism ideology is change. So according to pragmatism, uh, the world is liable to change. Nothing is permanent here in the world, and no principle is true and valid for all times. All things are liable to change. So these are the things which actually influence a lot whenever we develop a curriculum, or we try to make any type of methodology, or set rules or strategies for our education systems. So basically, once we talk about further on the development of this ideology and education systems, the credit of introducing pragmatism into education basically goes to two social thinkers who are William James and John Dewey. According to John Dewey, a real value of a thing lies in its utility for human welfare. Education will also be useful and purposeful if its utility for human welfare will be seen or encountered. So education will also be very much purposeful if it contributes to human welfare and progress. All the aspects of education should be conducive to human good and human growth. Then only they will become real and true. If the process of education does not promote human welfare, then all the aspects of education are of no use and must be changed to become desirable and beneficial. So pragmatism actually holds it very firmly that any specific educational process cannot be regarded as final and useful for all times to come. So basically, it believes in change. You have seen that the slogan is change. So it believes in actually change, and according to the needs, the changes must be done. So it must change according to the changing needs and requirements of the changing society. This is something which is very strongly mentioned whenever we talk about pragmatist school of philosophy. It must be noted that it is a progressive society. Only those educational processes and institutions can remain alive and active which are flexible enough to satisfy the ever-changing needs of society, and which prove or which provide real life experiences together with adaptable attitudes to make people dynamic, resourceful, efficient and enterprising. That's why these people who are having all these attributes can become a challenging human beings, or who can actually satisfy the needs of the time. According to pragmatism, mere gaining of knowledge for the sake of gaining knowledge is not the real aim of education. According to pragmatism ideology, the various aspects of education, which can be mental, religious, and aesthetic, are the various modes of human activity. Pragmatism firmly holds that through these various activities, a human being creates his or her own ideas and values. So we can say that in this way, it endorses a lot of dynamism in education. In the words of John Dewey, uh, he says that philosophy is the theory of education in its most general sense. In its most general sense. So what does it says? That basically philosophy gives birth to the thought process to how to go ahead in our education. So it talks about the dynamic nature of the education and the role of philosophy to actually carve the education. Let us see the characteristic features of uh, education in pragmatic school of or pragmatism school of philosophy. The first characteristic feature is education as life. So pragmatism or these people who believe in pragmatism firmly believe that old and traditional knowledge or education is dead and lifeless. Provides to the child cooked up knowledge, which dulls this child's spirit of investigation and makes him a passive recipient without any dynamism and push. So, real knowledge can be gained only by activities, experiments, and real life experiences. So, in this way, to develop the child fully, it is greatly essential to provide this child several opportunities to participate in more and more activities and experiments so that this child creates like own values and leads a very kind of richer and happier life which is better for him and or her. The next characteristic feature says that education as growth. According to pragmatism, society is very much in the process of continual change. Continuous change is happening. Education should also correspond its activities and organization to suit the changes in society. Then only education will be a useful process to bring about the growth and development of human beings as well as of the society of which this human being is an integral part. So it may be noted that the process of social growth today is very rapid in comparison with the conditions which were there in the previous century or maybe 50 or 60 years ago. So we can say that nobody can make any definite prediction now about the future because in the later ages it was difficult to make a prediction about today. So maybe we cannot predict a complete picture what we are going to have in our future. So that is why, so educating a child according to age-old traditions, beliefs, and methods is going to actually waste the time and energy. So, in this age where scientific development is happening a lot, nobody can say that a son of farmer will become a farmer or a son of doctor or engineer will become a doctor or engineer. So this prediction could be made about maybe earlier this type of things were true. But nowadays we see that because of the dynamism which we are facing right now, we cannot predict the future of any human being. Anybody can become, if we work, we go and employ our experiences in a positive manner, there is a possibility that a son of a doctor may become somebody who is not that worthwhile for the society, and even a son of or a daughter of a farmer goes and becomes somebody who is very much worthwhile for the society. So we cannot predict the future. This is something which is very much properly mentioned in this school of philosophy. The next characteristic feature, which is laid by pragmatism school of philosophy, is that education as continuous reconstruction of experiences. Pragmatism holds that education is development and not mere bookish knowledge. Pragmatism uh, firmly believe that knowledge is not fixed and predetermined. It changes according to times and circumstances. So we can say that pragmatists condemn the knowledge for the sake of knowledge or forcing it into the mind of a child. So they emphasize that real knowledge is gained by experiments and experiences conducted by this child himself or herself. So these experiences actually lead, one experiences lead towards other, and in this way chain of experiences are formed, and these experiences actually make the whole value or give value to the life of this child. So in the words of John Dewey, it is a process of reconstruction of the reinstitution of experiences. This is something which he said about the continuous reconstruction of experiences. The next characteristic feature says that education as a social process. For in case of pragmatism, human being is a social being. Human being is integrally related to all human, like every single human being is related to other human beings, as to in case of the family and the peer group. So this human being or the person gains more and more knowledge through personal experiences than he or she gets from the books. So in this way, according to pragmatism, the education of the child should be through the medium of society so that it develops in him or her the social, so basically the socially desirable qualities which promote the welfare and happiness. In the words of John Dewey regarding this feature, he says that education is the social continuity of life. So it can be seen here that he is giving a lot of emphasis on the social nature, on the social experiences which a human being actually gains throughout his or her life. Then the next feature is that education as a responsibility of state. Here by state, it means the government or the authorities. So the modern age is an age of democracy. We all know that in our country we have got democracy. So in this age, education basically is the birthright of every individual. Any child who takes birth in our country is having the right to get educated. The state should shoulder the whole responsibility regarding the education of any child who is the citizen of our country. So, if the state does not discharge this obligation or this particular responsibility efficiently, the whole nation is going to suffer and lag behind on the road of success. So, in this way, pragmatism insists that the state should shoulder the responsibility regarding the education of each child to the fullest to make the child capable and confident to meet the problems and challenges of life in a very successful manner. Now let us see the aims of education in pragmatism. What exactly pragmatism says about the aims of education. So we have seen idealism, but unlike idealism, the pragmatistic ideology does not believe in predetermined and fixed aims of life. We have already seen this particular notion again and again. So when nothing is predetermined and absolutely true, how can the aims of education be predetermined? So basically, pragmatism emphasizes that the aims of human life always change with the changing times, places, and circumstances. So there is no specific aim of education which can be which we can predetermine and we can hold as true and good for all children at all time or at all the places and the situations. So we can say that this particular philosophy holds this idea that the aim of education can differ according to the context, according to the time or place or situation of the child. So there should be different aims of education for different children, for different times and circumstances. According to John Dewey, education as such has no aim. Education is an abstract idea. Only persons have aims. Only human beings have their own aims. And the aims of human beings or persons are, are, are actually indefinitely varied, differing with different children, changing as children and their teachers grow. So as soon as we grow, maybe you can even just make a kind of introspection, and you will find that maybe once you were a child, the aim of your life, aim of getting education was different, and as soon as you grow, you change your aims, you change what you want to become in your life. The aims are becoming varied as soon as you face a lot of uh, life experiences. So in this way we can say that pragmatism believes in the dynamic aims of education. So more and more we grow, and create new values, we actually set new aims for our life, and in this way the aims of education also change. So pragmatism, the only aim of education is to provide such dynamic direction and guidance to the child according to his or her natural interest, aptitude and capacities in the field of academic activities, that once he or she grows up and develops more, then more of the endowed like capacities or things which can be enshrined, where this child can confront the ever changing problems and challenges of the life, the modern life, and in a very successful way. What will be the ultimate aim? To achieve happiness, to achieve a happy and a better and a richer life. At some point of time, people can correlate richness with happiness. So it also talks about that gaining wealth is also something which is considered to be important in case of pragmatism. So for this education, it is basically talking about that education should develop such a dynamic, flexible, and adaptable mind, which is always resourceful and enterprising, and is able to create new values for an unknown future. So basically, this is something which is talked about whenever we talk about aims of education in terms of pragmatist school of philosophy. So for convenience, this lecture on pragmatism is divided into two parts, and the first part is over. Let us summarize, let us have a quick summary what we have studied in the first part. So we have seen the meaning of pragmatism, which actually says that only those things or activities are true which can be verified by experiments. We have also seen the different people or the different scholars who are believing in the philosophy of pragmatism. And the most important scholars are C.B. Peirce, then William James, Schiller, and John Dewey. We have seen the forms of pragmatism, which are the humanistic form, the experimental form, and the biological form. Then we have seen the principles of pragmatism, which actually are changing nature of truth. Then truth is formed by its result, problems as the motives of truth, then emphasis on social and democratic values, emphasis on the principle of utility, opposition to fixed ideas and values, importance of manpower, then importance of activity, faith in present and future, opposition to social customs and traditions, faith in pluralism, reality still in the making, and faith in flexibility. So all these uh, principles are those on which the pragmatism philosophy is shouldered. Then we have seen the pragmatism and its values which are enshrined in education. We have seen that William James and John Dewey actually popularized this philosophy. Then we saw the different characteristic features of pragmatic or pragmatistic education. We have seen that here education is considered as life, education as growth, and education as continuous reconstruction of experiences. Also, education is considered as a social process, education as a responsibility of the state. Then we saw the different aims of education, where more and more development and creation of new values were emphasized. It also says we actually got this concluded that the aim of education for every individual at different times and different places can be very much dynamic. So these were the things or the points which we covered here in this session. And in the next session on pragmatism, we will be trying to cover the curriculum, how the curriculum is influenced by this philosophy, the method of teaching, and then the merits and the demerits and some more aspects like the discipline, which is actually shown or suggested by this school of philosophy. So all these things we will cover in the second part. So with these pointers, I hope that pragmatism and the related concepts would be very much clear to you. So these are few of those references and the suggested links which were referred while creating this particular lecture on pragmatism. Thank you so much from my side. We will see each other in the second part of pragmatism, where we will discuss about this school of philosophy and the related aspects and the details of these related aspects in some other way, in some more uh, like emphasized way. Thank you so much. Dear students, you are watching a video on philosophical basis of education, where we were covering the study of the school of philosophy and its educational implications. And the school of philosophy which was studied here, discussed here, was pragmatism. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the national lockdown period for COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.